Got it.
Dear Earthmates, um, uh, in this episode of Earth Civilization Dialogues, we are with Şanar Yurdatapan, who is based in Istanbul, Turkey, and he is an activist, uh, patiently trying to deepen democratization. And his most interesting initiative has been what he calls small um, national assemblies of Turkey versus the Grand National Assembly of Turkey in Ankara.
Small Provincial Assemblies of Turkey. That's the official translation to English.
Oh, all right. Fine, fine. Yes. And what would you like to say about that initiative and you have been developing?
Well, in Turkey especially, for many, many years, when we spoke about democracy, we always meant that making general elections, voting there, and choosing the people to lead us. Is that all? If we like them, probably 4 or 5 years later, we can change them, but bring another and give the key to them. Okay, you go ahead. Another 4 or 5 years. In practice, we've seen that this is not enough. This is not sufficient to reach democracy. Why not? Civil society should take part in decision-making processes all the time and everywhere. Is that possible? Why not? Of course it is possible. Surely it is not it was in antique Greece or in some small you know, parts of Switzerland. People go somewhere, discuss, and vote, yes or no. It's not possible in such great population. It's still possible in some other way. That's what we thought then. Of course, the Turkish Grand National Assembly was, not is, was the place where the decisions were made, laws were made. Uh, and we never called ourselves as we want to make laws. But why not discuss everything before the law is done and everything is over? This is why we thought that if we make a sort of organization, something like the tradition in the United States, the town hall meetings, where the voters and elected come together and discuss some things, but every month and in every province. In Turkey, we have 81 provinces, and the MPs are elected on their own province. This is why they're called Diyarbakır MP, Ankara MP, Edirne MP, etc. So those people and the municipalities, local authorities, in each province, why not the small the civil society organizations and those elected come together once a month, or let's say for 3 hours, and discuss two issues. One general issue, which is discussed in all Turkey at that time, an actual one, and another issue, local issue concerning their own province, but again, an actual one. It is a must. Then they come, first civil society speaks and tell about the problems, and they turn to the elected and say, You heard us. What do you say? What's your solution for that? And in order to make it possible to survive, we have organized some main rules depending on prior work we made in 8 parts of Turkey for 2 years. Then we had some rules, but within those frames, each small provincial assembly could take any decision they'd like to make, when to meet, how to meet, and how long, which issues to discuss, etc. This is an autonomic structure. Yet, one of the main rules was decision-making here is forbidden. Funny, it's just like in contrary with the final, but if we said we could make decisions now, imagine one social group. In one meeting, they're in minority. Second meeting, again in minority. Third meeting, again in minority. And they can never get to the final, which they wish, that they would not stop. And that would be the end of small provincial assemblies. This is why this was the first rule. But in every meeting, we had the minute records. And those minute records were sent to the participants within, let's say, 2 or 3 days. And 2 days were given to them. Please control if we made a mistake in summarizing. And then the final minutes report of that meeting was finished. And all those reports from many provinces, the number of provinces come to 30 one time. But at the end, it was 13. Comparing with 81 provinces in Turkey, you may think that it's not too much, but don't forget that Istanbul, Ankara, Izmir, Bursa, Adana, Diyarbakır, those big cities, the public living there, it's almost 3/4 of the whole Turkish population. It was something. Then, in every month, when those minute records came together, a new report, a total report came out about that month. And that total report was publicized in the press conference room of the Turkish parliament. Of course, we didn't have the authorization to rent there, but it was about MPs could do that. And one of the MPs who participated for that month, he did that. And it was something good. And of course, those reports were sent to all political parties and all civil society organizations, media, etc. But suppose we got a very good common denominators in 1 month's report. Too many organizations agree on the same thing. So, is at the end, we could simply imagine according to the issues, what's about? It's let's say about some women's rights. Then we'd invite the women's organizations to make certain meetings again. Normally, we thought that they might take this report and use it for their purposes. They could simply say that, look, that much organizations and that meetings and that much people came together, the civil society organization representatives, this is the result. This is something very good to depend on and keep their work. But what happens if they do not? Then the second sister organization came out. It's called maybe it was the same thing, ortak payda, common denominator groups. And there, according to the issue, of course, just as I said, suppose it's a women's freedom issue, then we'd bring women's organizations. Most of the great majority of NGOs in Turkey are in Istanbul, Ankara, and Diyarbakır, İzmir, Edirne. That's it. So we'd make 1, 2, 3, normally 4 meetings. One in Izmir, Istanbul, Ankara, and Diyarbakır, and the other groups could come together there. And we search for the common denominators of those social groups. We're not trying to convince each other. We're only searching, do we have common denominators? Okay, what are they? 1, this. Everybody agrees? Good. Second, this issue. Yes, no, probably. Okay, forget it later. 3, everybody agrees? Good. Here are the common denominators came out from those 4 meetings. Probably, usually, they say the same things, but in different words. So 2 people from each meeting, then as representatives, they come together in Ankara and bring together one common denominator report out of these 4. And then they would meet now with the official parliamentary group, whatever the issue is, they come together. Of course, if we go there with, say, 20 common denominators, then we make the same thing with the MPs from all parties. And then probably we only take 8 or 10. Why not? Okay. The other 10, we can keep on discussing. But for these 10, what shall you do in the parliament to take a result? And what do we have to do for publication and preparing the community for that? And also make a roadmap. Who will do what until when? This was the system. Simply, you will say, was it realized? Yes. 1, 2, 3.5 times, let's say. Did we take a good result? No. What happened? Just something similar to the last example I gave. We came to a result of around, I think, 9 issues that the MPs, different MPs, and the same parliamentary commission, including the president of the commission and the others, we agreed, but they were not able to bring it to the General Assembly, and the period, 4 years period, was over. This means we have to start from 0. But when the new parliament came after the general elections, the government, they did not take care of the report coming from the commission, official commission. They simply gave the first draft they played to General Assembly directly. Of course, this was not something nice. And morally, people may simply think that, what's the use of doing all of these things? See, they want to do everything, anything you wish. No, it's not so. And such social changes, you must not hope to have a result in a week, in a month, a year, or in a very short period. But whatever you do is not in vain. They come together, and slowly by slowly, something changes. And anything you do is a small part of the basic that brings that change sometimes later. And about small provincial assemblies, even at the beginning, knew that this was something like rowing against the stream, because it's, in Turkish political atmosphere and traditions, it was something strange, unusual. Yet, what we were thinking that it is not possible to make such change from top to toe, because the people who got the power, watch it, they care, listening to the others, they know everything the best. So when they do it, it's good, and the good are good. When the end is good, everything is all right. When this change can be made only with a pressure from bottom to the top, and it may take a very long time. You know, examples, we thought that, imagine 50 years. If we started today, then 50 years later, if we're too tired, let's say, let's do it next week. 50 years plus 1 week, 1 month, 1 year, 1 decade, etc. Goes on like that. And we were thinking that this work might last 1 or 2 years at the most, and we will fall. But then, when this again someday, the new people who will start it will not have to start from 0 point, but from the point where we failed. This was our gesture, 1 or 2 years, 11 years it has lasted. And we had to think over, where did we make the mistake? It has to end, of course, but mainly because the polarization coming from up to down, and the MPs were afraid to take part because they were afraid that their bosses will be angry. You were not able to defend our project there, etc. Things like that. But then the civil society organizations said, okay, let them not come. But we were not coming together even once a month and listen to us and speak to us friendly with no fight, and hear each other too. This is something good. This must go on. This is why, instead of 1 or 2 years, it has lasted 11 years long. After the very strong polarization provoked by Erdogan himself, we could not go on. But now we see that everything is about to change.
There's a revival.
The day is coming soon. And we hope that, we said, when it comes out as a social demand someday, the people who like to do it again will not start from 0 point. I think those people are us again. It's coming near. So we're preparing to start again from the point we fell.
You didn't fall, actually. The people, you have been carrying the flag of democratization. Now, you have the English statements, or your experience, the organization, the method, the values, principles. You have those documented in English, I hope, or something that we can spread internationally. I think many Earthmates will learn a lot from your experience, and a new civilization is in progress an Earth civilization, and we are trying to contribute to it. Your efforts are exemplary, really. I'm honored to have known you, and I'm thankful to you. What else would you like to the Earthmates? Ideally, 8 billion people should be listening to you, but more and more at least will. So what would you like to say?
Excuse me, your voice had interruptions. So will you please repeat the question once again? I can't hear you. I hear now.
Yes. What else would you like to say to the Earthmates? Ideally, 8 billion people should be listening to you, but at least more people will on YouTube, and your contributions will be spread. What else would you like to say before we put a comma, not a period, to our conversation as a message?
Something very short. It is the reality of the social and economic life of today all around the world is every passing day, the rich is richer while the poor is poorer. We have to stop this.
That's right. That's right. Thank you so much, Şanar Yurdatapan. We're together. Bye. Thank you.